He became very weak during that time, and so by the time he had moved to the step-down unit, he was pretty much unable to walk. Hi, my name is Nina Granger, and I am an allied recruiter here at Atlas MedStaff. This month is Physical Therapist Month, and this week is Respiratory Therapy Week. So I just wanted to take some time today to recognize how those two positions have impacted my life in a personal way. Over the last few years, my dad had developed a lung disease called pulmonary fibrosis, which is when his lungs kind of became damaged and scarred over time to the point where he had a very difficult time breathing. He had to go on the transplant list to get a double lung transplant, and he was officially listed at Barnes-Jewish Hospital in St. Louis in October this past year in 2018, and he received his double lung transplant on December 8th, 2018. We live in Omaha, so my parents had to move to St. Louis and wait on the transplant list during that time. And then once he was transplanted, he had to stay in St. Louis until St. Patrick's Day was when we came home. So they spent almost 6 months down there. After the transplant, he experienced some complications which had him bedridden in the ICU for about 3 weeks. He became very weak during that time, and so by the time he had moved to the step-down unit, he was pretty much unable to walk. He had a tracheostomy put in so that he could breathe through a breathing tube while his lungs were regaining strength. So he worked with the respiratory therapist to learn how to use his new lungs, and he worked with the physical therapist to learn how to walk again and build up some strength to be able to basically be on his own outside of the hospital. So he was in the hospital for a total of about 6 weeks doing physical therapy and respiratory therapy, and then he did another couple of months outside of the hospital as an outpatient in St. Louis doing pulmonary rehab and physical therapy. So without those two therapies, my dad wouldn't be where he is today. We came back to Omaha in March on St. Patrick's Day, and he's doing great right now. You can follow along of his journey on Facebook. His Facebook page is Ron's Lung Transplant, and I kind of manage that page. We're going back down to St. Louis in December for his 1-year checkup, and so far he's doing great and he's breathing great, and we're super thankful for everybody that was able to help us through this process, especially the physical therapists and respiratory therapists that made everything happen.